Hardcore Lies.
Hey guys, Rob from Georgia here with you. I'm your Wednesday night host here at BodyBags. Man, it is theme week. It is week 348 and it is Killer Animal Week. Man, you have to go Italian, right? I mean, here it is. The Wild Beast from 1984 Severin release. Franco Prosperi, known for Mondo Cane back in 62, I think. Man, it's some good stuff, man. Derek dropped on me, man, said you got to check this out. You got to review this. And so here I am. But a few shout outs real quick. Big, huge congrats to our fearless president. The birth of his son, man. Just, oh, man. Just all my wishes and congrats and everything to you, man, and your family. It's so awesome, man. It's so awesome to be part of something like that, man. Enjoy it. And then, of course, man, I just got off my 50th, celebrating my 50th. And kind of weird to think I'm a half century old, man. That's kind of weird. Get old, man. But anyways, it is Killer Animal Week, man. And I'm kind of rolling along with some Italian goodness, as I've said. And let's just get into this. The Severin release, man. This is a nice release, and I hope there's no glare or anything. But Franco Prosperi, and this is wow, this is an interesting movie, man. Right off the bat, we're sort of introduced to this quote that I think sort of underlies the message theme of the film. Our madness engulfs everything and infects innocent victims, such as children and even animals. Francis Thrive, which I'm not sure who that is. I don't even know if that's a real person. It may just be one and the same of the director who's laying out his own quote for the film. But that sort of underlies this idea of what we are doing and doing to ourselves, and it's interesting. But really, what you have here is some northern European city. I'm assuming it's Frankfurt, only because there's a sign that gives it away, the Frankfurt Zoo, that's sort of half hidden behind these tree effect, right? What you really have here is you have, whether intentionally or not, you have a PCP agent that is unleashed into the water supply, and kind of, I was just thinking Romero's The Crazies. It's interesting. I just wonder how much of an influence that was, mostly towards the end and stuff. But anyways, so you have a city that really is going to, I would imagine, start descending into some chaos here as a result of this. But for the purpose of the film, though, the focus is on a zoo, and when the animals start really being affected by this agent, man, they start to go freaking nuts. And simultaneously, I guess, there's like this earthquake, I guess, as sort of jolts the zoo, cages get open, animals get out, man, and there you go, man. That's the rest of your freaking movie, man. It is a fun ride. And it's a movie that, there are a few things that's interesting. Being Italian, being his Mondo Cane history, and things that we've seen in Cannibal Holocaust and whatnot. There are moments that are pretty disturbing in this movie, in terms of, there's a scene leading up to our first major kill where it seems like a cat's been thrown to rats, and that's pretty disturbing. There's a disclaimer at the end of the film that says no animals were hurt or anything, but man, you have to wonder when you watch this movie. There's a little bit of underage nudity too at the beginning. A girl she can't be more than 10 or 11, I can't imagine. That's a little disturbing in of itself, so probably you ought to know that going in. But that's just a quick, kind of thing. Really, the rest of the film is pretty light. Even on the animal attacks are pretty light. But when these animals get out, man, you've got a smorgasbord of just delight, man. There's just one scene in particular, man, that is so... Cheetah gets out there, right? This girl's coming down. The city's already gone into sort of lockdown mode, right? Which is really eerie, kind of watch a movie like this and knowing, where we've been, where we continue to be in some semblance in terms of our quarantine and the impact of this virus. So it's kind of weird to watch a movie like this, actually. It's kind of, it's just kind of weird. So this lady, she's kind of, coming down the road in her Volkswagen, right? And the engine sort of conks out. She has to stop. She gets out. She's checking out the engine from the rear of the vehicle. And the cheetah, man, slowly comes out from around the corner, man. He's just eyeing her, man, sizing her up, right? And as the cheetah comes out into the open, the girl senses something's up, man. She turns, she sees the cheetah. She leaps into the Volkswagen, man, starts cranking down the road. This cheetah, man, is in high freaking pursuit on her, man. I was just waiting and hoping this cheetah was just going to leap out into this, no roof on the car, so into this car and just go at it. That would have been, that just would have been sick. But as she's strolling down, man, she almost hits another car head on, which has our inspector and our main zoo guy who's out there trying to re-tranquilize these animals to get them into safety. And they almost head-on collision, and the inspector, I think, is just like, is that lady crazy or something? The other guy, she's not crazy, she's getting chased by a cheetah, man. This cheetah's on high speed. It is the funniest thing, man. It is the funniest thing. But it lends itself into, I was just thinking watching this movie, how, I'm not a big remake person at all. At freaking all. But, if you could see a remake and see a film brought up, like the original Invasion of the Body Snatchers in the 78 version, done well, or The Fly, dude, it would be sick, man, to see somebody take this film and really honor Prosperi's vision in this film, the underlying message of this film, make it relevant for today. Boy, you could have a blast with this. And, you pick some city, right? You pick some city that has a huge major zoo and nearby a city park, maybe a suburb not too far. And, man, and then the city in and of itself, man, you could really just go to town on something like this. Could be absolutely terrifying if they did. And this film is rather terrifying, as an underlying current. It is Italian, and there's some cheesiness here going on a little bit. But I always seem to look past that quickly, and I always think to myself, damn, if this really were happening, this would be sick. This would be pretty freaking terrifying to be dealing with leopards and lions and tigers, and you get hyenas. There was one scene, I think, a missed opportunity. You always, when you're watching a movie like this, you get visions and you're thinking, man, if I did this movie, boy, I would have a scene involving a pack of hyenas, man. Just hearing them laugh up a storm as they're tearing. It just could be, it just lends itself to moments of imagining things like that. And but anyways, it's so really you got these core characters. Really, we're just sort of focused on what's happening to them. The one little girl of the mother, she of course is at this dance studio. A polar bear comes raging into this thing. But then you have also paralleling that, you've got the kids are starting to drink this water, and so now it's starting to affect them, which really carries us into a very interesting ending of the film, which I won't give away, but it is somewhat Romero-esque in terms of what we see in the original Crazies. It has that vibe. It has this sort of vibe that when the movie finally comes to an end, it's sort of open-ended in the sense that you still have a city that's engulfed in darkness that is not realizing that they're drinking this contaminated water. And that just lends itself to some just crazy thoughts. You get the elephants, man, rampaging along. There's this sick scene involving them pulling a guy and a girl out of a car, and of course the guy gets strangled and by one elephant, and the other girl ends up having her head stomped into the ground. And so, what is the message here, the underlining idea here? Be careful what we do, I guess, and how we cage and try to trap nature. And if nature springs loose, look out, it's not going to be pretty. Something to have, but they also get onto the runway of an airport, and they cause a plane to crash into a power plant because it can't land. And so that puts the city into darkness. And so it lends itself to some really terrifying ideas. And even if they're not completely put on screen, they're there nonetheless. You get a tiger on a subway, and I'm just trying to think. Of course, rats run amok, polar bear, hyenas. Of course, you got animals that escape a slaughterhouse that are being basically easy pickings for these lions and hyenas. You've got some pretty good kills in here. You got some good effects here going on. And of course, the use of live animals, which kind of shocked my wife as she sat down and watched sort of the tail end of this with me last night. This is a movie, man. I actually enjoyed this movie even more on the second time through. And I'm going to watch it again and again. And it is enjoyable, but it's like, it just gets your imagination running, right? So The Wild Beast, Killer Animal Week, man. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but you ought to. You ought to check it out. It's a great Italian piece from, again, Franco Prosperi. And man, wherever you may be, whatever you may be going through at the moment, all my hopes and prayers go out to you, of course, as we continue along this really weird, surreal sort of pathway. And it does make watching movies like this a little bit more surreal in terms of just what's going on in our own lives, right? And it does beg some questions. What would happen if something crazy like this took place? And as we continue on in our Killer Animal Week, man, stay plugged into BodyBags, man. Everyone's doing a great job each and every day of the week. And we've already seen Jaws 3 open up the week, and a great one from BDG Reviews. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what comes the rest of the week. So wherever you may be, man, take care, stay safe, stay healthy, and do whatever you have to do to take care of you and your family, right? And just good things going on with the Bills, man. I just keep hearing good things. I cannot wait for the season to start and start seeing this team really light it up, I think. So with that, go Bills.